So today we'll be discussing of how to go about planning a Meghalaya low budget road trip. So if your budget is tight and you're looking to do this in, say, I would say less than 10,000 rupees, it is possible. But for that, your step zero is to accumulate at least a minimum of 4 friends. Because if you're planning on doing this trip solo, it's not possible in a budget of less than 10,000. If you're going with another friend, that's two of y'all, it's still going to cost you roughly around 15,000. And if you're three people, it's going to be really awkward because then you are going to waste one seat in the vehicle. So the best thing that I would recommend is manage to get at least a minimum of 4 friends, because that's where the entire equation becomes extremely cost friendly. So let's break down the cost. So three things are there once you've gathered 4 friends. The three things that are left is: number one is your cost for accommodation, number two is your travel cost, and number three is your food cost. So let's go with number one, that's your accommodation. So if you're doing a 6-day trip, which is 2 nights in Meghalaya, 2 nights in Cherrapunji, 1 night in Dauki, and maybe 1 night in Mawlingnong or wherever you wish to be staying, the average cost that you will end up spending for a budget accommodation in all these places is anywhere between 2000 to 2500 rupees for the entire room. So keep in mind, if you're 4 people, this will drop down to around 750 rupees per person. So that's the cost per day, 750 rupees for your accommodation. So you can round it up to anywhere between 750 to 1000 rupees. Then the next step is your transportation. So now transportation for a vehicle, if you can all squeeze it into an Alto, that's the best, because an Alto will cost you roughly around 3000 rupees per day for a 5 or 6 day trip. So that's 3000 into 5, that's 15,000. Into 6, it becomes 3 6 are 18. So now if you're going to do 18,000 divided by 4 people, that would come down to again say around 4.5 5,000 rupees. So look at this thing. So if it is 6-day trip, accommodation of 5 nights, for 6 days we'll be staying in a hotel for 5 nights. So that's 5 nights into 1,000 rupees, it's 5,000. The accommodation, your vehicle cost would be 18,000 divided by 4, which would bring it down to roughly again around 5,000, 4,500, 5. That is, so that alone over there makes it 10,000. So now what's left is your food. So now food in Meghalaya is extremely affordable. You won't break the bank, because if you are on a really tight budget, you can eat the veg thali, the street food, and just live off Maggie and momos, and you will spend not more than say 100 to 200 rupees per day for all 3 meals. That's how affordable Meghalaya is. So when you're planning a trip to Meghalaya, the secret for a low budget trip is to get a group of minimum 4 people. If you wanted to do it even more cheaper, then you got to increase the number of people that are getting along. And to get this entirely into a budget, the golden rule is that you have to be okay with the kind of accommodations you're going for. You're not going to get any kind of luxury accommodation, and at the same time, even the places that you're going to be staying at is not going to be maybe in the city center. It'll be slightly far off, so you'll have to maybe walk a little bit more, and so on. And when it comes to entry fees, keep a budget of roughly anywhere between 500 to 1000 rupees depending on where you want to go, because the entry fees in Meghalaya is pretty costly. Every place is anywhere between 30 rupees to 100 rupees just for the entry.